All right, so yesterday the president met the media. We're going to bring some highlights of the event. Just wanted to get a quick overview of your thoughts as a public and the panel on the event in general. Started at 8 o'clock on the dot. That was impressive. Ended 7 minutes past 10, so it was 2 hours. Initially planned for an hour and a half. Fielded, I think, 6 rounds or 7 rounds of questions. Not sure now. I think they initially advertised 5 rounds, and then there was 4 or 5 questions per round. So you could see about 24 questions, or between 25 and 30 questions overall. We've always said that these events should be analyzed from the context of it's not an interview, so there's no real opportunity to delve into the depths of one matter. It's more broad-based, more feeling your way around than it is like depth. So you compare that to, say, I interviewed Kofi Adams, where we had almost an hour and a half on one topic, as against 2 hours on myriads of topics by myriads of people. So I feel like we need to discuss that from those perspectives. When you have Kofi Adams sitting here for 1.5 hours, you can go so deep and ask so many questions and do so many follow-ups. When you have a president and he's faced how many journalists? Probably 100 or so, and maybe a third of them get to ask questions, and maybe somebody's been waiting for 45 minutes to ask one question, and part of his question has been already asked. So it's not the same kind of thing. Yeah. Having said this, just what did you make of, I remember there was a few years ago where people really criticized journalists for their performance, but I think that has changed now.
Oh, yeah.
I think for the past 3 rounds of Meet the Presidents, generally people are okay with the questions, correct?
Yes, also because the media houses these days send their best and brightest.
So in the past, I think it was Kufuor who started this.
Yes.
And then Mills continued. Mahama did it. Akufo-Addo also did it. And then Mahama has continued it.
Yes.
So what stood out for you yesterday?
Oh, it's not an event for me. I'm looking for information.
So you are just looking for information?
Yes, I'm looking for information. So nothing stood out for me.
What information are you looking for?
On things that are happening in the country.
So you wanted to see the president's mind on the issues?
Oh, of course.
Okay. But I think the optics are also important, right? Did you like the way the questions were presented? Did you like the variety of questions? Did you feel like the media coordinated the way they...
Oh, it was well done. I mean,
you think so?
Yes, it was well done. Generally, it was well done. I can't really complain.
Is that the impression in the room, generally, as an event? Before we get into the substance, what do you think, Francisca?
I'm also not really concerned about the event and how it went. I'm particularly interested in the answers that were given.
Specific answers to specific issues.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes, and I won't also focus so much on the kind of questions, because I think that the question may not matter. For me in journalism, there's no bad question because of the kind of response that it may elicit. And so really the focus for me is on the specific responses and the gaps that may have been in some of the responses.
So that's what you think. Is that what you also think, that it's more a question of the responses than it's about the questions in the form of the event?
I think it's all three.
All three.
I honestly don't believe that we need, while I respect and, Felix doing a great job with what he does, and I'll celebrate him any day. I don't think we need an MC-like, person directing who is asking what questions. The president should be there.
You should pick his own people.
Yeah, that's right. He should be there. Look at the people, raise their hands, whoever you pick. It's irrelevant. Right. The people you have brought in there are supposed to be journalists, and because, and then presidential override sometimes comes in to say, oh, okay, as for this person, I want that person.
No, I think there's someone who must conduct
every presidential press conference everywhere. Somebody asks. Somebody.
I have been to Downing Street. I've been to the U.S.
But in the U.S., someone also picks.
No, I mean the president himself is picking. Who is picking? Trump he picks.
But is that a meet the press or a regular press interaction?
It is just like that. It is what it is. I don't see why and then the president goes to sit. No, because all of that takes time.
Okay.
So the president is there for 2 hours to face questions. If he wants to read a prepared text, let him read it.
So he should pick the people.
Yeah, that's right. And then pam. We deal with it.
So it should be quicker.
Yes.
You feel it should be quicker.
Yeah, and then also
But don't forget that in Ghana we like long talk.
It's well, I mean, anyway, maybe my expectations are too high.
I also thought the president's speech was a bit long, given that you have journalists from across the country with different areas. Once you are prepared to meet them, you have occasions you address specific issues every other time. It's not a State of the Nation's address. So you're opening yourself up for the media to ask you questions, maybe a few lines, and then we open up for the journalists to fill their questions.
I think, how long did he speak for? Was it 30 minutes? Okay, 30 minutes. Okay, so we had one and a half
minutes.
Yeah.
Roughly.
So we had
Was that long?
Yeah.
He started speaking at 8:02, finished around 8:30.
Yeah, 21, 20.
8:21.
Yeah, 21, 22.
So it wasn't 30 minutes.
It should be at
That was
most
like
3 minutes.
All right. Second point: was there any question you felt should have been asked that wasn't asked? Before I even get to what was asked, is there anything you felt should have been asked yesterday that wasn't asked? No, to all of you.
Okay.
Yes, he asking.
Is there
already indicated the question.
take your time. Is there a question you thought should have been asked that wasn't
Go to
asked?
straight
The
to
biggest
Sky.
thing that has happened to
The
Ghana's
most
judiciary,
consequential.
the most consequential, since the murder of the three High Court judges
Are you kidding me?
and the.
Serious about
No, I'm
this,
serious about this. You know, people don't. I mean, people don't realize the weight of what has happened. Right? You may have your own views about it, but I feel and I believe that strongly. You are entitled to your views, and if you want to express, you are at liberty to express it wherever. No, I'm not talking to you.
You are looking at me.
I'm saying that for someone who cares about constitutionalism, democracy, the rule of law, and all of the things that are happening around us, the biggest thing to have happened in Ghana by reason of what's happened to the judiciary since the murder of the justices was the removal of the Chief Justice. And for the fact that not a single journalist explicitly pinned the president down on that particular matter, given the myriad of criticisms we've seen, I'm so disappointed. That's not to say that other matters don't matter. No, it's the truth. I mean, that's my view. Yes. So I'm so disappointed that it should have been one of the biggest questions to be asked yesterday, because the president hasn't.
What is the question?
So the president hasn't spoken about the matter since the woman was removed, right? The lady Chief Justice was removed. He's not had the opportunity to address it anywhere beyond issuing a statement to say this is what had happened. In no country would this thing happen and journalists will go and meet the president for the first time.
So, Sky, what is the question?
Because
I don't have to ask you. It's not relevant. If I have the president, I'll ask you.
What I'm trying to get to is that you know there are issues and then there are questions. So what you are saying is the issue, but what I'm trying to get is that, so is there a, because for me the way I framed the question was to say, look, you have to link it to a lot of things that's going on. Okay, so my decision was to say, if you remove a Chief Justice and replace the Chief Justice with somebody who's more pliant, if you remove the Electoral Commission chair, if you have absolute power in Parliament, then it looks like the other arms of government and institutions of state are being subservient and not independent. Do you understand? So I framed it from a governance angle and put it in that way. I didn't go to say, why did you remove the Chief Justice?
So you see,
so that's the way I chose to process the question.
Whilst
I'm asking, I'm coming. So I want to know, for you, what is the question around the CJ that he ought to have addressed?
See, the general view from critics is that the president has undermined judicial independence and that what was done was not justice. A dutiful journalist minded by these concerns would have raised that in a question to the president, right? And he would have spoken for the first time publicly about what was going through his mind as he was doing that. We didn't get that. And then also, you framed the question within a general framework of whether he was becoming a supreme leader.
I don't even know why he put it. The question was whether he was making the other arms of government subservient to the executive. And I quoted an article in the Finder which used the descriptor.
Yeah, I understand that. But what I'm saying is that...
So it was just an adjective to sort of spice up the question. That wasn't the main thrust.
You see,
the main thrust was about the independence of judiciary and the legislature.
Parliament, yeah.
That's what I was trying to put across. He chose to answer using the supreme leader
sort of
name.
You see, so
the question wasn't about his being a supreme leader.
No, because he sort of took that as a hook and then trivializes it.
I give 3 examples.
So you see, someone else as president would have treated that question differently. You know, people respond to questions in diverse ways.
So he could have chosen to address the CJ matter in that question.
Exactly, of course. But you know, it was you reference it in a very cursory manner. You understand? You didn't make it the main issue.
Yeah, because I put it in a general. Because there are examples of different things, right?
So you see, that gave him the opportunity to do what he did.
To pick the...
Yeah, because ideally, he could have dealt with the parliament matter separately.
Yeah.
Deconstruct the question, separate them.
Touch on the easy ones.
And then deal with them one after the other. That first of all, on the matter of parliament, the Ghanaian people voted for us.
Yeah.
They believed in what we are doing, and this is how we intend to use that mandate. We don't intend to abuse it. Then move on from that and now deal with the Chief Justice's matter. That, in his view, this and that and that and that happened. And then move now to the Electoral Commission, and then deal with that aspect of it. And then overall, now respond to whether all of these things put together will give the impression that he is doing A or B. On the facts, he trivializes the question. He says, look at me. Do I look like a supreme leader? Referencing President Mills. And I think he did a bad job on that particular question. And maybe because you put the thing together in one big pot, that would seem to be what gave him the opportunity.
So you think that the CJ matter should have come up?
It should have come up. And then also, we have been concerned about insecurity across the country. And we have been tabulating the numbers here. One would have expected that our colleagues would have taken a cue and frame a question around what appears to be the general insecurity we continue to see across the country. Benyiri is there. Of course, my good friend Haruna Mahama raised the matter. But it was within the local context. It's your backyard. The people haven't heard you comment on it.
He actually mentioned Boku too.
Yeah, but again, it was sort of muted. You understand? So if he had calibrated the question in such a way as to make it at an urgent national issue, referencing Oti, Boku, Ghanaians outside in La Côte d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, Togo, as refugees.
So let me just show you something that has just happened. So you see, in Haruna's question, he chooses to use one example of insecurity to ask a question. In my case, I used 3 examples of incidents that I believe amount to something. So you see, there are 2 approaches. If Haruna had mentioned different examples of insecurity, the president may not have even given us the answer he gave around the Benyiri situation, because there are many instances of insecurity. So I think sometimes the way the journalist feels whilst he's asking the question can influence whether he decides to give many examples or just zero in on one.
So, for instance, Mr. President, your own backyard, as we speak, is on fire. The locals are fleeing to neighboring La Côte d'Ivoire in search of safety. So many people have been killed as a result of communal clashes there. That's just one. Go to Boku. In opposition, you promised that you were coming to fix the Boku problem. Anytime the MPP was in power, they were the problems for Boku, and that you would fix it. As we speak, Boku is still in flames. You go to the Oti region, we've seen communal clashes there. People have had to flee to neighboring Togo. According to the NADMO, according to the NADMO, over 40,000 Ghanaians currently are outside of the country because of the communal clashes in these and many more communities. Then you press the question.
You would have preferred him to give more.
I would have told him that on the matter of security, for many Ghanaians, it would seem that he has failed. He should give us reasons why we should believe that he's doing something.
Was that the only question on security asked?
I should think so. Because
You sure?
Yeah, that's right. I should think so.
The only question on security?
Yeah, it would seem.
The question Sports Obama asked, was it a security question?
Who is Sports Obama?
Sadiq Obama. He asked the question around growing
ethnic
based sentiment that divide. That you can say that was a security question.
No, it was, but you take it online, right? Because he dealt with it beautifully. As for that question, I will give him 96% for how he confronted the question and the promise to deal with it. Because if you follow what's happening to the Rohingya Muslims in Burma, Facebook is sort of held accountable locally and globally for their own role in, first of all, internet penetration, and how they sort of ignored early warning signs that came in from an employee of Facebook that, hey, these people are using your platform to create a problem, and that people will be exterminated as a result. Somehow, Facebook did not listen according to the public records, and it resulted in people being, killed, and so many millions leaving their own home country and are seeking refuge elsewhere. Now, if you bring that back to Ghana, as we speak, so many people are forming all of these ethnic groups and pushing narratives that undermine national peace. So it was a brilliant question, and the president, in his honesty, confronted it and promised that, look, we are going to go after you. I thought that was brilliant, but it is not one that I would have considered to be
a full security question.
A full security question. Although in the cyberspace is a big, ticket item.
So you have mentioned it. Anyway, anybody, Governor, do you have any question that you thought should have been asked? That wasn't asked. You are fine with the questions that were asked. So which answer? Okay, so what did you make of the? What was the highlight for you? Positively or negatively?
The Galamsey response was inadequate.
What was the Galamsey question as well? At the end, it was right. Initially, it was a bit.
Even if it wasn't asked well,
should be answered properly.
It should be answered properly. Considering everybody knows what Galamsey is and what the problems are. I think his initial statement, was used to set the record straight on some things that they were doing. But the problem the president faces is that the language used prior to becoming president when it comes to Galamsey is very different from the tone and language that is being used to answer those same responses. These questions were thrown at him when he was a candidate. The tone was very different.
It was very clear.
There was the push for urgency. There was very clear-minded strategies that were being outlined. In becoming president, it's the responses to those same urgent questions have become a bit long-winded, and pretty unsatisfactory in dealing with the gravity of the situation. So, if you would notice, the public response has been, the Galamsey, and that has been my position in the years that you and I have dealt with Galamsey on this program, that is not going anywhere anytime soon. So for me, the Galamsey question was one where it was the one where I was not moved at all by the president's response. I did not leave with the feeling that the government is on top of the issue. He spoke about we are tracking this. The question about the state of emergency, we only use it as an extreme measure, and it didn't work for me. So that was.
So you didn't get the level of. The president is a very articulate man, but the level of articulation on Galamsey wasn't that clear. I think that's how we should put it. Usually, he's very clear on what he said.
Yes. So for me, he answered a lot of questions. I think the question on the currency was pretty key. And his clarity on wanting to keep the depreciation at 5% per year. That between the if you're a fair-minded person, that makes some kind of sense to you. So I found that pretty useful. His response on this Sadiq Obama's question on the current threats we face online, where accounts have been created to heat up ethnic sentiments in the country. Again, you could tell
he's aware of it.
He's aware of it, and he says, "We will find you. We have measures in place. If you misbehave, we will find you."
It's a security question.
No, I'm not saying that.
Question.
So you see, that's what I'm talking. I'm not talking about security in the sense of cyber security. You understand? It's a question that you would have to confront within the realm of cyber security while aware of its impact on...
You just told me about the Rohingya Muslim. What I'm trying to say is that security now, a lot of the instability we see on the ground can be triggered by something somebody wrote or said. So I'm just over.
I agree with you there.
It's a very important question which was asked in a very innocuous way. And luckily, the man took his time to answer it well.
No, I don't even think that it was innocuous.
No,
I think it was...
No, I'm saying that he didn't... He wasn't confrontational. He took his time and asked the question gently. But it was a very heavy question.
You see, I wanted us to separate that from heavy lifting security. Exactly.
But you finish.
The last one for me, your question, I think it was clear enough.
So it wasn't that...
For him to have been able to perhaps answer it in a way that would have satisfied Sky, for instance. I think he made light of it, which is fine. It is his remit to answer it that way. But your question bordered on the blurring of lines and how a clear-cut understanding of what separation of powers is and why the things that are happening makes it look like there is intent
for absolute
control, some by election and some by political design. Okay, so elections you can't do anything about. The people voted, but the political design is not something that you can overlook. And the president is not politically naive. He's not a newbie. He's been in this half his life. So I think your question, even the way you put it, although you put it in an umbrella manner.
This is a terrible analogy.
Sorry.
Omnibus. Oh my God. MPP and this will kill us.
An omnibus manner.
You can't even use elephant and umbrella in any sentence. Charlie.
An omnibus manner. I think the point was clear enough for him to have responded to the current feel that there is an attack on some of the state institutions that are supposed to check each other. And that slowly the ability to check is dissipating. And I did not buy his response that he is unaware of it because he doesn't look like a supreme leader. You might not look like it, you might not act it, but there are other actors that you are aware of who are acting like it. And so
you're right. The question wasn't even about him.
It wasn't about him.
What is happening
exactly?
Around.
It had nothing to do with him.
And
I think the president is too politically experienced to have told us that his response is, "Do I look like a supreme leader?" I didn't buy that too much. So that's it for me.
Maybe he was surprised that the question came the way it did. I agree with the point that maybe I should have framed it differently. It may have gotten the same effect, different effect. But
apart from that, look, I think he responded to a lot of things pretty clearly. The stadium question was pretty good. His response to that. The
stadium question gives us
context,
a follow-up to the
conversation we had in the morning. The tariffs issue was pretty key. What I did not expect though was and I did not know this, maybe I had tuned out of the news, that we had been receiving foreign nationals.
Yes, it was very useful for Felix to allow BBC and
Le Mans
and also Radio RFI to ask, because the angle of the question, I didn't know that Ghana had agreed to receive deportees from the US, including non-Ghanaians.
I did not know this.
For me, that was wow.
That was very clear.
Did you know?
No, I didn't know.
I didn't know that.
I had heard in the diplomatic circles that that was being discussed. But as to the arrival and being put on a bus
to go to Nigeria,
that was very well done.
Credit to the guy for asking it. And of course, I'll deal with the economy later. My former professor is here, so I'll ask him a few questions about the economy.
Just to make a quick comment on what Godfred had said. You know, people should not think that we are trivializing the issue of supreme leader, sort of. It is dangerous enough to have a president who is checked by parliament, but who wants to have his way anyway. It is another thing having a president who has commanding majority sweeping majority in parliament, and who, according to critics, is seeking to control the judicial arm. If all of those come together around one person, it is the biggest danger you can find in any country. And if the person misuses the power, you and I are in serious trouble. That is why there is always a pushback that, look, let's share the power equally. So that, because you don't obviously expect NDC in parliament to be a check on President Mahama's anything. I don't see that happening. So you want some safety and comfort. You don't want a yes sir Chief Justice in office seeking to do the bidding of the president.
Now, let me come to Kakra. What did you make of it? What stood out for you? And also, what was did you feel there was something that ought to have been asked that was not asked?
I think the questions were asked in whatever form. For me, what I took cognizance of was that this is an experienced politician and also an orator. And so there will be some questions that, as the president, he will find difficult, and he will use his experience and his skill to answer it, perhaps not to our satisfaction, but he would. For instance, your question, which included the bit about the removal of the CJ. That, given, and I agree with Godfred, that question could have been answered regardless of how it was posed, especially because of the currency of the matter. Just a few days ago, it was still topical, and the president is very much aware of it. But it is a difficult question. It's a difficult issue to address because it borders on one of the arms of government and claims of an arm exerting authority over the other, and the matter of the independence of the judiciary. And so for me, I don't see how else he would have answered that question. Of course, he wasn't going to tell us that confirming, the critics' position. For him, he would believe that what they did was holding judiciary accountable, and not a question of undermining their independence. Secondly, I think that the question, one of the questions that he's been praised to have answered properly is the question on social media comments. Yes, and I agree that the president tackled that one very well. I think I agree largely with you and Godfred about it being a matter of security, because it's not the first time that we would have heard the media or comments being made on media that have translated, incendiary comments made on the media that have translated into actual violence, which is the case we saw many years ago in Rwanda. Now, to the question about Galamsey, which for me is where I would say that the president's performance or his presentation was woefully inadequate and disappointing. I think that there had been a build-up, okay, right from, I don't think civil society and the media have gone silent on the issue of Galamsey, especially in the wake of the unfortunate national incident where we lost ministers and servicemen in a helicopter who were on their way to a Galamsey-related event.
Yes, please.
There was a lot of expectation on the president to address the matter. There were calls for him to declare a national emergency or state of emergency pursuant to the Constitution, Article 31. There were also calls on the president to revoke the LI 2462 that was permitting mining in forest reserves. And there was the understanding that we are mourning at this time, we're going to bury our departed heroes, and then at the right time, the president will speak to such issues. I thought that the Meet the Press was the right time for the president to have spoken on these things that there were calls for and there was a lot of expectation for. And so for me, that was the disappointment, because the devastation of this matter had reached it had already reached a national level, but it had reached a national level to the point where we lost human beings who were trying to solve it.
So it's like the Galamsey has been raised to a different level.
Yes.
So it could have been a bit more exact.
Yes.
Although he did say that the LI would go. He did say that the LI would go.
Yes.
I think he did say that. I know initially it wasn't clear, but he did say the LI would go. And then I also think the last question on Galamsey was a good one, when Kojo Yankson actually sort of because initially, you say the question is not important, but I'll say to you that sometimes the way you present a question can give somebody an escape route. Okay, so I'm not criticizing somebody, but when you frame the Galamsey question around the tariff, he can choose to tackle tariff and not tackle the environment. Do you understand? If you frame the Galamsey question around state of emergency, he can address that. But if you frame it around a number of things, so Kojo Langston said, look, there's a lot of things going on. Do you even differentiate between Galamsey small scale gold and real, legitimately small scale gold? All right. Why are excavator imports going up? He sort of put a lot of things in there. Then he added the so that's why I think the longest answer we got was to Kojo Langston's question, which was 10 minutes. So because of course, the president is an experienced politician. So if you give him an easy way out, he will take it. Okay. So I think Kojo Langston did a good job in laying out all the issues. But just a quick Galamsey.
One. The question was good, but
the answer was very long.
The answer wasn't satisfactory. So that's why I'm.
No. I'm not even talking. I'm just saying that by the time we got to that Galamsey question, don't forget we are taking about 7 questions as the last end. Okay, because people had asked many questions, so it was almost like drowned in a lot of, and sometimes that's how it happens. So when people are coming to a quick close, then it's sort of like let's wrap up. Let me take Caleb's take, and then I will read some quick comments. Luckily for me, Professor William Babwati is here, and I'm going to ask him a few questions about the economy, because there were about 3 or 4 questions asked on the economy. Eko Moses asked whether we should go back to the market. Kemini asked a question about the currency.
Yeah.
I think there were a couple more questions generally on the economy that I feel he touched on. And yesterday we got to know that he wasn't too keen on going back to the market, and also the issue of
the Bank of Ghana's intervention in the forex market.
The expected band of depreciation that came out of the...
Bernard, let's see more of this. That's what I will really say.
More of this, yeah?
We need to see more of this.
Like every quarter?
Yes. In the past, we've complained that sometimes when it comes to very critical issues, the responses we get from the president will be in an interview with the foreign press, where they may not be seized with all the facts and sentiments, and we will not get enough accurate answers from the president. So to have opened himself up to the press across the spectrum last night, the way we saw it, is good. And I would ask that we see more of this, because it makes for more transparency, because some things came up, as we've talked about, that we didn't even know about. Yeah. So for me, I want to see more of this, and it's been an improvement over the years. Journalists are asking more focused questions, and we're getting more detailed answers. So Kakra has spoken on the Galamsey point. I don't want to belabor at that point any longer. So I thought that it was a good thing. It's a good start. Let's see more of that. Importantly, usually in their first few days they open up, but as things get more heated, more scandals come up, they don't show up when we call them.
Let me ask you a question. As a journalist who is very good at social issues, roads, rent, did you feel like was the press conference broad enough? I feel like we went on hard issues too much. Yeah. So when Benis Lancer asked about the
creative arts,
Benis Lancer asked about rent and homelessness. I sort of felt we missed more of those type of questions. I think we missed more.
Because there's
the kind of things that you would typically deal with.
Exactly. Now, if you meet the president, there's also pressure and very big expectation. Yeah. People are looking forward to the big ticket conversations, forgetting that even on the campaign trail, the promises that are made to the people is improved roads, schools, and even public toilets. Those issues that people can feel. And I felt that when the president said that he was happy that the economic transformation was not only being felt in figures, but people were feeling it in their pockets. So bringing the conversation home to you, sort of. So perhaps to bring to get that better, when the president maybe goes to events, town hall meetings at the regions and all, those could come. But at the national level, the way we saw it, yes, it will be difficult. Even if I were a journalist, I went to ask about a question like that, that is closer, I might be feeling somewhere.
So unless the issue can be nationalized, and I think the lady did a very good job in the way she sort of
contextualized,
picked a topic which you consider to be like is not a hard topic, but she raised it to a national level, because there are lots of things like that we did. I also felt that maybe there should be a regional opportunity, because the regional correspondents brought a different flavor to the program. Do you understand? So somebody asked about stadium in Upper East region. There was a question about the security in the north, and there was a question about roads. I feel like sometimes the regional people don't get a fair chance like we in Accra. So maybe going forward, the fellas can consider a version where people who are from the region, because the Accra people are a lot.
Yes.
And they are from national media houses.
And just to
but
add,
if you did a version for regional level media who would also deal with some of the key issues that surround their region,
just tie it to the president's tours. Usually when he goes to the regions, he will pay a courtesy call on the chiefs and all. How about meeting the journalists in the region along that, so that we don't have to repeat meet the press in there?
Because there was a place where an Upper East guy, two of them had risen to ask questions. Great question around the Polugu Dam, and the other one about lack of stadium. But you could see that a lot of regional guys who came were not even given the chance, you know. And then there was also guys who came on Zoom. So maybe I agree with you that maybe we need to do more in different formats. So you can do a northern version, do a middle belt version, do Johnson, so that you can give other media people the chance to, for example, if you do Volta, O2 and Eastern together. And the journalists come together and start asking about specific issues to do with the voter. I think it will be more deep.
I mean, was there a question on sanitation, for example?
Good. It didn't come out. So that's what I'm saying, that your kind of questions. You are strong on transport. You are strong on built environment. You are strong on sanitation. A lot of that didn't come out yesterday because don't forget, this is the first year of the president. Usually these matters start calcifying within the middle of the term.
Exactly.
So there isn't a lot to chew on. So maybe that's why. But I agree that the format can be improved. And I like the regional correspondents and what they brought to the table. Honestly, I feel like if I will be happy to listen to regional correspondents questioning the president, because they come from a very different angle. The Haruna guy was amazing. I mean,
I would say that, look, the best approach, in my respectful view, will be that the president should make himself available for solid, hard-hitting interview. Appear on the City Breakfast Show. Appear on Point of View.
You
understand?
So that we can go further.
Yes, that will bring more thoroughness.
Because
I believe so too.
Elsewhere, journalists would have even shared the questions themselves. They say that, look, no, hold on, I'm just saying look, I'm going to go for this. You are at liberty to ask a follow-up question. When you're asking the follow-up question, this is how you go about it.
We did.
You did that.
Me, Sanda, Samson Ayenini, we tried. The chance didn't come.
You didn't get selection well.
We did. We wrote questions. We planned it. It will shock you that even the question I asked was not in the original list of questions I was supposed to ask.
Okay.
Because we had written about 6 questions. All right. The Galamsey question was asked in different ways. It didn't come up. There was even a question on National Cathedral that we couldn't really frame properly. There was a question on abandoned project that the chance didn't come. So by the time I got my chance, the only space was for that type of question. Do you understand? If I had been called first, I would have asked a Galamsey question. If I'd been called in the second round, I would have asked a different question. So by the time it was like, Charlie, the thing is finished. The thing, you're not seeing you. So I was even in discussion with other people about how to follow up. So the truth is that an interview is the best, or not even the best. It's also
a good add-on.
A good add-on. A good add-on. This
Yeah.
is also good because this also, for a country like Ghana with a lot of media houses, it gives a chance for people to be seen, and I think it's good in its own right. But in addition, do interview, and also I also think that the regional versions are very useful because it brings him closer to the people in a way, and I can come some of the hardest working journalists I know don't live in Accra. Okay, and they take a lot of risk and do a lot of work. Not all of them can come to Accra to meet the president, but I feel like if he goes to, say, Upper East, that's one. All right, that's one in Bono, Ashanti. That's one in Western Central. It will really be useful because the journalists there would also get confidence, and then they would also let him see clearly what's happening on the ground there, because sometimes our presidents are as good as their briefings. And you've done this work long enough to know that sometimes the briefings don't give the full picture. And you may be worried about the level of the answer and say, can he not see this? It's possible because maybe he's not getting the briefing the way it ought to be. So, look, great program all in all. I want to move forward to read some quick messages, Caleb, and then I'll bring Prof. I just want to where is he? I want to ask him a few quick questions.
He's enjoying himself
around. Professor William Babatin taught me economics at the university. He's now the vice chancellor of the Methodist University College.
Congratulations to him.
Big man.
I just want to ask him a few questions around
before his actual interview.
No. It's part of the interview. I had him on TV a couple of days ago discussing the economy, and I just wanted to ask him a few questions about, as a non-journalist, watching us, listening to the president, and also from an economic point of view, does he agree with what we are?
I'm really interested in knowing whether Parliament is not in session yet.
No.
Okay, perhaps that is why. Because I'm really interested in knowing what the Parliamentary Committee on Foreign Affairs thinks about this.
The revelation around the
particular revelation and development. And maybe we didn't pay enough attention to what had been going on.
Yeah.
And so it's taken us by surprise. But I genuinely want to know what went into that conversation and what went into that decision.
What did you make of his comment about the way the U.S. administration, I think it was a question about the U.S. administration's posture, and he spoke about the AGOA almost technically dead.
Yes.
You know, so he sort of knows. He admits that the relationship may not be at the best, but you know, Ghana and U.S. have a long history.
Yeah.
So he didn't sort of.
He chose his words carefully.
Yes.
But I also think what is pretty clear is President Mahama's very firm opinion on the current state of U.S. governance. He's written extensively about it.
He understands what's going on.
He has spoken about it at some major platforms.
Yes.
He spoke about it when he was in Berlin.
Yeah.
He's written an op-ed about it in some major newspapers. So President Mahama's position is not really on that particular matter.
He's very clear that
it's
where
very
the
clear
US is, we have to do what we have to do. So he's not expecting any favor
at
from
all.
the US administration.
I think he's very clear in his mind.
And I think that's important.